Welcome, gods and goddesses. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I wanted to talk to you today about getting what you think you deserve, a lesson in alignment. So, what inspired this video was actually thinking about how we're somewhat promised that if we do these things, then our life will be this way, and how some people end up living in the dogma of other people's choices because they try to do things for the approval of maybe a parent. And when you live your life for someone else, you tend to regret it unless it's a great decision that was made. One thing that really draws me to esoteric teaching is that you have full control of the outcome. You're always in control of your life in particular. It suggests that life does not respond on effort or desires, but what you expect. More specifically, to what you quietly believe. What your normal is or your subconscious. The difference is not luck. The difference is your idea of who you are. So one of the principles that I definitely believe in and that I believe I live by is as within, so without, or as above, so below. And it's one of the teachings of the Emerald Tablets. I suggest you read it if you haven't gotten it yet. It's very foundational, and the principles suggest that it is your inner world that creates the outer world, and that they're a mirror reflection of each other. So whatever that you believe in, whatever your assumptions are, your emotional pattern sets the structure for what appears externally. In other words, your life is basically just happening to you. It's not happening to you, but it's happening from your core beliefs. So the universe works as a mirror and not necessarily a judge. So it doesn't really have a moral compass. That's why some people don't get their karma. I personally don't believe in karma because if that's how life worked, we would have seen a lot more people get their karma, but we don't see that. So I think it depends on the person's specific own belief. And the universe doesn't reward goodness or punishments or mistakes, or it doesn't really punish it either. Instead, the universe functions like a mirror. And the mirror doesn't argue, it doesn't negotiate, it simply reflects what stands before it. So when you're standing in front of a mirror, and if you believe that you are unworthy and that's what you're projecting to your mirror, then your mirror is going to pick up that you are unworthy. And it has no feelings about it, right? Like, it's not going to sit there and tell you, no, believe that you're worthy. If you've already decided that that's a belief, it will only reflect the belief that you have within yourself. So you have to be consistent with what you believe, because the universe values coherence, not necessarily justice. And another concept that I really love teaching about and learning about is all is mine. It's probably one of my favorite esoteric laws that I really believe in. This means that it's not just positive thinking that's going to get you through the day. It's your mindset. It is all in your mind. And the way that I really started thinking about this was when I first started reading things in alchemy and understanding that, like, everything around us was created. That's why it's kind of like a simulation of sorts, because it's real, but then it's also not real because it was created by someone else. So I don't care if it was this mic, if it was the computer that I'm on, it doesn't matter. Everything around us was created by somebody's mind. So your existence on this earth, I think Oprah said this, is to maximize your your human experience is to maximize, get the most out of being alive and a human as you possibly can. And if you are blessed enough, you will leave this earth having left back something that will push this world forward. So your mind is constantly sending out instructions for the universe to create the life that you want. So to think about this concept, I want to ask you, what do you expect to happen to you in your life? What do you expect from others? What level of effort feels right? How much ease do you want in your life? And how much joy will you allow? Right? Will you allow people to take away your joy? Because regardless of what's happening external to you, you have full control of how you choose to see that. So I feel like your internal self is the blueprint to your external life. And the universe will build off of that desire. We all want things, right? Like we all want things like peace, abundance, love, freedom. We all want those things. But who's aligned to it will get those things. When you want something so deeply, but it's not coming to fruition, that's because there's a belief system that's in the subconscious mind that's preventing it from actually having access to you. So, do you secretly believe that it's unrealistic, or maybe it's only going to be temporary, or you're going to lose something because of it, or it's for them but it's not for me? And what happens is you send the universe these mixed signals, and because of those mixed signals, now you're stalled. But it doesn't mean that it's not still in your field of creation. It still exists there, but they're stalling because you don't believe that you have access to it, right? I'm going to use myself as an example. I have manifested so many beautiful things in my life. And one of those things is, I would say, a six-figure career. And now my goal is to make a seven-figure career. And really, not because, you know, not because, like, of an ego perspective, but because I too enjoy playing with the universe. The universe does not just respond to your words, but it responds to how emotionally connected you are to what you're saying, because your vibrational frequency will send out or will emit out into the universe. And everyone and everything is conspiring to help you get that dream. So the universe doesn't go off of morals, it's more so vibrations. And I know people don't like hearing that, but morality doesn't exist here, because think about it like the mirror. Like, the mirror doesn't care about morals. The mirror is going to show you exactly what you're reflecting to it. So esoteric traditions do not teach people receive the things that you're going to receive things because you're good or bad. They teach you receive what you are aligned with. Alignment means your emotions, your thoughts, your identity point in the same, you're all going in the same direction. If you consciously desire success but subconsciously accept struggle, the expectation wins. If you desire love but expect abandonment, that expectation wins. If you desire peace and stillness but still feel uncomfortable in your life, then your chaos will win, right? Not because you deserve it, but because that's your expectation. That's what you're putting out there. So familiarity can feel like a gatekeeper, because more so because it feels safe. So even when it hurts us, we tend to stay in the same place consistently because of fear. We could want everything in this, we could have everything in this life, but because we're stuck in fear, it's like limiting us. Like for me, being able to go to out to dinner by myself, or being able to solo travel by myself, I think took a lot of courage initially, and now I don't have a problem doing it. Now I just get up and go. But I do have some friends who are like scared to ever go out alone. And so for the last, like, I want to say 5 to 10 years, they've really become turned into these hermits, because it's almost like they're waiting for somebody to give them permission to go out into the world and to experience the world. So I want to encourage you to always step outside of your comfort zone, because that's really what the universe is going to reward. And you want to raise what you receive by raising what you expect. So esoteric wisdom does not begin with action, it begins with permission. And you have the permission to receive without guilt. You have the permission to rest without judgment. You have the permission to live a life without struggle. You have the permission to be loved beyond measures and to love beyond measures. What your inner world believes, it will expand into the outer world, and the outer world will match it. And you know what? It might not be at that same moment or that same time. It might have to be take some time, but it is the inevitable. It will eventually match it, because universal laws are always consistent and they don't respond to urgency. So like in the ethers, there is no concept of time. We created time, right? We created a concept of time. But when you talk about manifesting or creating the life that you want, it could happen like this, or it could happen in 10 years, it could happen in 5 years. You have no idea when it's coming, but just know that things are shifting in the universe so that you can get your way. Like you might say, hey, I want a steak dinner. When you go to a restaurant, I want a steak dinner. But well, you want a steak dinner, well, there's steps to that, right? You got to put in the request. The cook or the chef has to get it. They have to make sure they have all the materials ready. They have to make sure that they cook it at the right temperature. Does the stove work? Do they have all the right seasonings? All of those things, like, and then somebody has to bring it back to you so that you can get it. So the universe might say, oh, I know that you want this, so I'm going to go over here and get it for you. And then it will begin to shift things around so that eventually you can get it. You know, that's why they say things like when one door closes, another door opens. It's literally because the universe is like, okay, wait, maybe this door should close for you because you deserve to go over here, and this is a much better place for you to sit. Something else I wanted to talk about was how your identity also creates attraction. You do not want to attract what you don't want. So you shouldn't live in the state of don't want. You need to attract who you're manifesting, so who you are. More accurately, you attract what you identify as normal. If your identity says, I'm always catching up, then life will always provide you with a chase. But if you wake up in the morning and if you say things are always working out for me, the universe will always work things out for me, things are always working out for me, then you should expect that things will always work out for you. And even if you don't believe it, and I know some manifestors say, you know, there's so much about manifestation, say, you know, you don't have to say this or that, but I believe that, like, even if you don't believe something, the more you say it to yourself, your subconscious mind is going to believe it, and it's going to manifest, and it's going to come true. Because identity is so powerful, and you know, change feels uncomfortable. To add to that, I want to talk about you changing, but I'm going to add something about like what life provides you and identity. A lot of times you listen to us as like leaders of this manifestation industry, if you will, which is beautiful, because if you've manifested something in your life and you want to give back, 'cause that's where I am right now. I feel like I'm ready to give back to to people because I feel so full in my life now. But I also feel like you should be careful listening to people who are at somewhat not necessarily the end of their journey, but who have made it so far through their journey that their manifestation techniques that they use, because they're become such strong manifestors, now they can just ask for things and receive it. But keep in mind that and sometimes when they get there, they'll be like, "Oh, don't manifest like that anymore. Like I don't have to write things down anymore because I can just get it." But when you're in the beginning stages of your manifestation, write it down. Listen to the audios. That's why I make guided meditations to reprogram our subconscious mind. Before I started making my own, I would listen to Abraham Hicks in the morning, and I still do till today because I'm still working on building my own meditation section of this YouTube. But I want to encourage you to listen to something that's going to open your mind in the morning and give you access to a positive way to think about life, because things are always working out for you. And the way that I see it is when you wake up in the morning, you're basically starting at like a 50%, half good, half bad. Nothing has really happened yet. So if you spend some time just listening to somebody like Abraham Hicks, who's constantly saying things that were going to work out for you, you start believing yourself. Now you're at 100. And that 100, when let's say something negative happens to you and that brings you down to 15, as opposed to if you woke up and you were at a 50 and then you're not listening to anything and something happens to you and at a 15, and now you've gone down to, now you've gone down to, I don't know, let's say a 20 because you forgot your lunch, or you didn't get enough gas for your car, or whatever the case may be. But starting at a higher elevation will always be better for you. So I just want to encourage you to definitely try to change your thinking or your self-concept about yourself when you're trying to walk into a new belief. So remember that like our teaching here is not to bring about discomfort, but that discomfort is going to happen because your field of creation and your vibrations are expanding, and the old identity needs to be released, and that old identity will resist until the new one stabilizes. But it's all good because the universe will eventually recalibrate and give you what you're looking for. If the universe is responding to you right now perfectly, my question to you now would be, what do you want? What is true about me? What is true about my life? Because life will meet you at your level of assumption again and again, and so you have to decide what works for you. And when the inner world changes, the outer world has no choice but to follow. So that is my video for today, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for spending time with me. And I have some really cool things that I'm planning. I'm planning to do a Patreon, some courses. I'm planning to like just walk into like a space of creation, and I hope that you guys will follow me on this journey. So thank you so much, gods and goddesses, for joining me here today, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. And as always, it is done.